so you'll know that it's that one. And I painted the prototype of that, a new icon of St. Nicholas, for the people in Béjala, because their experience of St. Nicholas, living with them, they called St. Nicholas the father of Béjala. And there are many stories of people seeing him, meeting him appearing, and working miracles even today. And the priest there, who's called Father Nicholas, told me that when they had the Second Intifada, and the Israelis were bombing the Béjala, they nearly levelled parts of it. And it was Sunday morning, and on the opposite side of the valley, the Israeli tanks targeted the church. They really did target the church. And it's Sunday morning, and they know that people are in there. That's why they're targeting it. And people started to panic and scream, and the priest said, no, we will ask St. Nicholas to protect us as he always does. And a bomb landed on the roof, but didn't explode. And for the people there, that was a miracle of St. Nicholas. In 1967, when the Israelis invaded Bethlehem, and again they were shelling the centre of the town, the Roman Catholic priest in the town saw St. Nicholas appear above the church, catching the bombs and then throwing them off into the fields so nobody would hurt. And during that particularly, the only damage to any human being was a rock that bounced off and hit somebody's ankle. Amazing. And this is celebrated as a great miracle in Béjala. So they call St. Nicholas the father of Béjala. So I painted this icon of St. Nicholas holding the church that he protected, which is a symbol of the way in which he, through the providence of God, has protected the people of that village for 1,700 years. Now, it might not be your belief, but it's their belief. It's their experience, more to the point. That's how they live. So that icon is making that experience real for them. And I did a big icon of that, and then I did a small icon, little version of that, which you'll find here in the exhibition. So, if you want to understand an icon, you've got to see it in the church. That's where it begins. That's where it's at home. It's not about a particular icon being holy, it's about the space being holy. It's not about the building being holy, it's about Jesus being there, which makes it holy. And an icon encapsulates spiritual energy, if I can put it like that. And it's the energy of the sacred space where God comes and is with us. And just going into a place like that, I don't know, those of you who visit monasteries and things like that, you can feel the atmosphere. There's a tranquility, a peace, a love in the atmosphere, which is tangible. And you certainly see this here. And the art is speaking about that reality. It's making it touchable. You know, like you need a photograph of your husband or wife if you go off on a trip, you're not going to see them for years, you know, and they're away. And even, you know, when somebody's died and they have their photograph and they kiss it, it's not sentimentality. We need the physical. We're physical beings. God made us with flesh and bone, not just dismembered minds or spirits. He made us to be physical, and we need that to be consecrated and redeemed. And it needs to be a channel of the very best in humanity, like our affection, our love for our loved ones. And the icon is even more of that. It's that potent. So, it's an art which is trying to make truth tangible. That's why icons are beautiful, because they're about the truth of Jesus. They're a profoundly theological art. You begin with theology in iconography. That's what you're doing. You're doing theology with a brush. So, what you paint, you know, people say, one of the things is, oh, well, you know, I just want to paint. And art in our culture is about my expressing myself, my feelings. But no, you've got to follow a pattern. You've got to follow a procedure. There are rules. I don't want any rules. It's like a little kid stamping up and down and saying, I want to be free. But if you want to write, for example, a poem. You need to know grammar. You need to know your spellings. You need to know how to construct the language. And you do it well, people will really get what you say. If you're hopeless at it, people won't understand you. It's exactly the same with this art. It's a profound grammar that you need to learn and to internalise. It's not just about self-expression. Now, some of you are coming to the course, I think, tomorrow. Maybe I'll put you off now. But it's not going to be about self-expression. It's going to be about entering into this grammar of theology, of redeemed spirituality, and about humility as an artist, serving the truth, because the truth makes you free. It makes you free to express really the truth about yourself, about what you believe, about what you feel. But you need to, as it were, learn the grammar first. So it's going to be quite interesting. Believe me, and I'm a bit nervous because I know we've got some people who are real artists, not like me. I'm a pretend artist, really, but real artists who part of this great creative expressiveness that we have in our culture. But wow, how am I going to help people to engage in this way? It's going to be very interesting, and it can actually be quite a profoundly disturbing spiritual experience for a lot of people. I've had nuns in tears twice. I can't do it! And sister's just gone off. And I felt wretched because I think it's all my fault. But actually, no, it's not. It's actually because the icon is about this relationship with Jesus, and as you try to paint, Jesus isn't just a cuddly bunny rabbit. He really does want us to grow, to change, to learn, to become more truly the person we are. And sometimes we need sweat and tears, not just cuddly feelings. So the icon is dangerous. So really, it's one of those things which does challenge you, and it is difficult. My faith is alive because of the icon, but it's been hard work, and it is hard work, and I get cobbywobbles sometimes, thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to do the face of Jesus. You actually think you're making Jesus' face real, and he's going to be there looking at you moment by moment as you make this happen. Sometimes we like him around, but not in your face. And that's exactly what happens when you're painting. Now, some people say, icons will have nice music, and every brush stroke's a prayer, and it all becomes very blah, blah, blah. It's usually nuns who say this. In my experience, that's rubbish. Yes, of course, you're trying to be recollected and focused, but it's the gritty bit of our faith. It's the gritty bit of living with Jesus. It's not bunny rabbit stuff. And it's very interesting that, say, in England, a lot of people who do icon courses, and I've been on many just as a participant, they want the fluffy bunny rabbit Jesus, but what they get is Jesus who's actually able to speak, and who challenges and is actually wanting them to grow, not just simply confirming them in their lives, but actually wanting them to grow and grow to painful. So iconography is an interesting thing to be involved in, and it is very demanding in a very profound way. And it really leads us to worship God in spirit and in truth. That's where I really want to end tonight, is to say the icon will take you to what is true through the visual. And if you're worried about idolatry, we're making idols. I know Christchurch has a bit of an evangelical background, yes, broadly evangelical. And I know therefore that for some people, paintings, and statues, but really, it's just like it said in the Council of Nicaea, which Anglicans sign up to 100%. It says, if God gave himself a face, then we can copy it. So what's the problem? Yeah, 10 Commandments, it says no idols of the earth, but God himself took a human face. And the face of Jesus becomes the norm from which all icons are painted. And that's why tomorrow in the course we will do the face of Jesus. That's where we begin. Hopefully we'll get it finished, but we'll see. But that's what we'll be doing in the course tomorrow. So those of you who maybe think, oh, I'd like to come, don't worry, do come tomorrow. I'm sure we'll find a space for you. Come on an adventure. Come and enter into what's beautiful and in what is true. Thank you very much. Always open up for any comments or questions or discussions. In about 10 minutes though we'll go into the chapel where we've got the icons. It's not an exhibition of dead things. It's not paintings. They are living things. And the best place to see an icon is in a church, like we were saying. Obviously it's not a Byzantine context here, but it's still the church. So we'll go in there in about 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, and we'll have a little service. I'm going to use some prayers from the Orthodox Church, because the Orthodox are really the ones who preserve icons as living realities. So it's quite good for us, I think, to be exposed a little bit to the way that they pray, and to use their words and things, and maybe a little bit of their music, but certainly that's what we're going to do in a minute. So the evening doesn't finish yet, but I don't know what people's reflections or thoughts, if you've been struck by anything people want to share, now's your chance.
I just thought the thing that blew my mind about icons was the gaze and direction of gaze. And your first image of Angelina Jolie was really interesting because the camera was looking at her.
Yes.
And she was looking at us.
Yeah.
And I just found that was quite interesting, because when I think it was Warren Williams wrote a book about icons, and there was this wonderful thing, it was Christ looking out, and I said something about that Christ was looking at God, but in us, and I just found that completely mind-blowing. And it sort of carried that sense when I looked at icons and the way they invite you into the pictures.
And Jesus is seeing what's true in you. It's a very, 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 when you really contemplate an icon in that way, wow, it leaves you breathless.
And it doesn't also makes you really want to wriggle it.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to sort of really get that gaze.
And when it captures you, then you have this tranquility. Because you realise he loves you just as you are. And he sees how beautiful you are. Just as you look at the icon, you think, oh, this is a beautiful, Jesus is a beautiful reality, Jesus is beautiful, the icon is a beautiful thing. He's looking at you and the beauty that's in you. And it's a very, very powerful dialogue, without words, but through vision.
This is a bit of a scary question. Have you known this kind of livingness? You're talking about him looking at you after painting. Does it happen with other things, like Krishna, for example? I saw a picture of Krishna once, which was looking at me. Now, that's a kind of weird thing to admit to. But do they have a thing in Hindu art that they do a similar kind of thing, and it kind of comes alive in their temples? I mean, do you know about anything like that?
I don't. I mean, I've been to India and went to one of the most ancient temples in Madurai, and that scared the pants off me. It was dark. It was very dark. The way they respond to those images is to smear them in ghee, in the butter, and then they pour all those very bright, garish colours over them, and it's a very, very, very disturbing, for me, I found it very disturbing. Whereas I think the icon, it is disturbing when you're living with the truth, it's disturbing, but it's not disturbing like that destroyed painting was disturbing. I don't know really anything about their